We're here with Pete, founder of the Neuron. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Having a good day so far. What about you?
Yeah, doing really well. The people here, the energy is amazing. This is such a wonderful event.
Yeah, it's packed full of people. I think like 1,000 something people joined today. Why did you come today?
I mean, NAS has always done such a good job at curating a global perspective. I'm from the US in San Francisco, and so a lot of the conversation around content is very US centric, right? And so for me to come here is a good, useful reminder, obviously, of the amazingly large and engaged markets all across the world. And I talk about AI stuff, so it's really fun to get to bring that type of knowledge to people all across the globe.
Can you give us a little preview about your talk that you'll have later?
It is, let's put it this way, AI is moving really, really fast, and I think it's going to impact creators in a way that I think a lot of people aren't really quite expecting right now. So the whole purpose is to sort of guide the thinking around what's actually possible with AI, what's coming in the next year or so, and how do you survive as a creator in the new age of AI? Like a lot of these questions are fast moving. A lot has changed in the last six months or so. So just hoping to provide some perspective on those topics.
Do you have an optimistic outlook or a not so optimistic outlook on the future?
That's such a good question. I try to be balanced in everything that I do. So look, I'm very optimistic about humans. I believe in humans so much, and I think we will. We have so much creative energy and a good heart about what is right and wrong in the world. At the same time, we have to be careful, right? Like, I think this is the first time that humanity has created a technology that can potentially take away from humanity instead of just augmenting it.
That's a little scary to think about.
It is pretty scary, but look, great power brings on great responsibility, right? So there's a big amount of discussion about what's actually the right way to use AI.
Okay, I see. And so personally, what do you think is the right way to use AI?
Superpowers for humans is how I like to call it. Yeah, so
I could do that.
Yeah. There's a lot of automation that's going to happen, but I think it's all about the transition, right? Like I think just like how decades ago there were literal jobs called computer typists, people whose professional jobs it was to type. Now everyone types, right? That job does not exist anymore. We're going to go through that same transition. There's going to be a lot of writing and coding that simply doesn't need to exist anymore because AI can take care of it. The question is, with that new creative time and that more strategic time, what is the new job? Like, what is actually going to fill up our time that is not just us writing the next blog post for a company blog?
Yeah, I guess it might, I don't want to say take over jobs, but it's just going to change the dynamic of a lot of existing jobs, right?
That's right, yeah. And I think, look, at the end of the day, human experience is what makes us human. Like, I think one of the other speakers, Paul Backhouse, said this perfectly privately. He said AI has never had to struggle like humans have, right? And that's—
They're robots?
That's exactly right, yeah. And so because of that, like, there's a lot of human experience that only we as fellow humans can show each other, right? So that's going to be a lot of the angle that we lean into is how do we just reconnect as humans again, in this age of the internet and unlimited content. That's going to be extra important.
Unlimited content. There's too much content, I think, nowadays sometimes. I know we're at a creator summit, but like sometimes it feels like the market's just saturated with inundance of content. Don't you feel that way sometimes?
Yeah. There's a lot out there. I feel like every time I open Netflix, it's just like a flood of shows that I know I won't watch, but they're there, Yeah, exactly.
And can you tell me a little bit about the relation between AI and blockchain?
Yeah, so this is actually a very poignant discussion that's shown up in the last month or so. Look, at some point AI is going to become so good that you can't really tell what's human and what's AI generated, right? And so there's a lot of stuff around proof of humanity via WorldCoin or decentralized identity that has a really strong role here. And I think a lot of the folks who were calling for these themes in the last couple of years didn't quite find the right messaging for those themes in, call it, 2020 and 2021. And very suddenly, very quickly, with how rapidly AI has been progressing, all of a sudden those same products are coming back on the market with a new lens. All of a sudden the folks who were skeptical a few years ago are now very, very excited about it. So it's so interesting to see how the narrative changes. But I think at the end of the day, blockchain and AI are basically two sides of the same coin. It's about decentralized power and decentralized identity. And what happens when you have very powerful technology that's owned by the people and being used by the people instead of big companies or governments or whoever it is, right? Those are the sort of questions that are getting tackled by both fields.
So it's all about ownership and humans kind of having that control or ownership of their products that they create, right?
I think that's right. And look, at the end of the day, it's about a simple scenario, which is what happens when everyone's phone has an AI that's powerful to do anything that's it's as powerful as a human, right? You're going to see a lot of stuff change, and you need to figure out who is actually human or not, right? And that's a very scary world, but that is basically the future that we're heading into. And a lot of the potential in blockchain has to do with that verifiability, right? We need that global store that, again, is not controlled by anyone, it's not dictated by anyone, because who knows, the companies building AI might also be the ones who want to control that data store, and we need that to be decentralized.
You can't trust anyone.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's very fascinating to see these two themes come back together. I think the audience who is looking at both these topics is actually quite similar. There's a lot of overlap too. So it's useful to have the minds who have been thinking about decentralized technology, finance, and identity also playing with artificial intelligence. And those are the folks I think who will be able to find the perfect combination that sort of intersects the two fields.
All right, well, looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Pete, for your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.